can do that.
Sure.
It's a free country. It's a free world. And, and I went into business so I could do what I want when I want. Well, listen, as Dave Ramsey says, if you'll live for just a little while like no one else will, you can live the rest of your life like no one else can. You got to make an investment.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the answer to your question, the answer to hiring and the answer to leadership and the answer to all of this is all of business and all of life is about relationships. So how many relationships have you started, developed, or continued this week?
Mm-hmm.
Intentionally building relationships. And we operate by the Ziglar philosophy. It was, as you know, I helped Tom Ziglar run that company. Our company, Phenomenal Products, is the exclusive small business coaching company for the Ziglar organization. I am the executive vice president of training operations, and I mentor Tom and help him make great decisions. And they've adopted a lot of our systems that's improved their company. And Mr. Ziglar's favorite quote to the day he passed away and what he lived his life by, what he taught people, is that you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what it is that they want. And I've studied thousands and thousands of hours of Zig Ziglar and taught thousands of hours of Ziglar content because that's part of my job. And I think about that quote a lot. So I broke it down. If you, not the economy, not the weather, not, Democrat, Republican, or vaccine or no vaccine or COVID or not COVID, whatever. If you will, that's intentionality, help enough other people. You don't have everything you want because you haven't helped enough people.
Yeah.
You just haven't helped enough other people yet. Okay. If you will just help enough other people get what they want. What do they want? They all want the same 9 things out of life. They want to be happy, healthy, least reasonably prosperous. They want to have friends. They want to have peace of mind. They want a good family relationships. They want to feel secure. They want to have hope for the future. And they want to love and be loved, according to Mr. Zig Ziglar. They want the same 9 things that you want. Everybody wants that. So how do you help people be happier? Well, you can't make people happy. Hire happy people. And don't do things that make them unhappy. You can't make them happy, but you can make them unhappy pretty quick, and live your life like that, and even if you don't feel like you're doing it authentically, I can go out there and plant a plant in my yard if I have good soil and good nutrition and water and sun, all that. I don't even have to feel anything. It's a law that's going to work. So even if you don't feel it, you just do it and you're going to get the results. Now, when you do it authentically and you do it with your heart, you're going to get a bigger crop and a bigger blessing. I have so much favor in my life. I mean, you were talking about Santiago. Santiago came to work for me when he was 17 years old.
Really?
I mean, this kid was a Colombian refugee. His family had to flee Colombia. He had nothing. And he grew up in an affluent family, had nothing, no skills really. And he's been with me for 21 years. He's 38 years old now. And he's a master coach, a master presenter, as you saw, a master salesperson. He helped me build the systems in my company and my cleaning company. And now at Phenomenal Products, he practically runs that company. I just looked at my P&L for Phenomenal Products for the month of August. We had, record sales, record profits, and I was in the hospital. Right. I had COVID. I was out for 6 weeks. You got to have 3 things. You got to have systems. You have people, and you're going to attract those people by building relationships and being the picture of success and helping them get what it is that they want. And then leadership. You got to raise your leadership lid. You got
Okay.
to learn how to be a better leader.
Okay. Hold on just a second. So I'm jotting it down. But so the next question I had written down for you is like, what role does leadership development play in the success of your organization? So it's your leadership level has to go up. How do you develop other leaders?
Put them in leadership training.
Okay.
Mentor them, become a leader yourself first. And it's not, the thing is that everybody would agree that everything rises and falls on leadership. John Maxwell says that the toughest person to lead is yourself. Everybody would agree with that. So learn how to lead yourself first. Put yourself into leadership training. Understand what leadership is. Understand how to apply it. Practice it. And as you practice it, then you'll attract the right people. The right people will want to be a part of your team. I have people coming to me all the time. I want to be a part of your team. I want to be a part of your team. I want to be on your team. I don't know, even have a place to put all these people.
Right.
And some people volunteer for me and insist on volunteering for me and not even getting paid. What's that all about?
Yeah. So I mean, and that's like the polar opposite of what we hear often. It's like, well, I can't find anybody going to hire. Nobody wants to work. But an answer we frequently give when somebody's talking about having trouble hiring is like, why would somebody want to work at your company? Like, you need to have a culture or a leadership or your company needs to be attractive enough that people want to work there.
Yeah.
And then your hiring problem goes away. And it sounds like, you almost have the opposite problem. You got so many people that want to be involved that you struggle to find a place for them. How would a small person, not a small person, a small company start a leadership development plan? I mean, there's probably some leadership development off the shelf. I mean, John Maxwell's is required reading at our company. But then like what's a good track? A lot of times people get lost in the mentorship, or they feel like they're not capable of mentoring somebody else because they're still developing themselves.
Sure. Well, certainly start with books, get a leadership coach, find someone who's already done what it is that you want to do. There's so many coaches out there. Everybody wants to be a coach. But you don't have to have experience, technical knowledge in a field to be a good coach, but it would be helpful if that person had some real experience.
Yeah.
Again, going back to my philosophy of find the person who, in every discipline, right? So there's 7 core areas of life. There's 5 core areas of business. We'll just stick with business for a second. If you get a leadership coach, have they been successful in leading other people? If you get a financial coach, have they been successful in running a profitable company? If you get a marketing coach, have they been successful in marketing, or are they just, teaching you somebody else's material?
Yeah.
Which could be helpful depending on where you are, but that's probably not the best case scenario. Read books, go to seminars, but most of all, get a coach. Drop your ego, get a coach, get a coaching company, join a community. And if it's not the right one, if it's not helping you get to where you want to go, dump it and, go to another one. Here's a common thing that we hear. Oh, I'm in this coaching program that I paid for, but it's not really working. It's not really helping me. But I'm not going to join up with somebody else until I'm done paying for that. Okay. Look, I paid for things that didn't work for me. Dump it. If I buy a car that I don't like, I can't, if I finance it, all my cars are paid off. I pay cash for my cars. I've got some really nice cars today. And fortunately, because I did all this stuff ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
And, but the thing is, let's say I don't like this car and I can't just stop paying on it, but if I pay it off and I can't, I'll give you a better example. How about this? I'll go buy another car give the car away, sell the car, take a loss, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Move on. I'll give you a better example. So right before my partner, I bought my partners out. We had a lot of a lot of debt, and I've been looking for a building because we had this lease space, and our vans were just all like jumbled back there together, and it's just a mess. And the neighbors were always on our case about our vans and everything. I was like, man, we got to find another place, and I want to buy a building. And all this debt, but I still want to buy a building, and I had personal funds and everything. It wasn't like, personally, thanks to my wife, we had money. So I couldn't find a building. And I ended up renewing the lease at this place for 3 years.
Yeah.
2 weeks after I signed the lease, I found the building that I wanted. I mean, I stepped in the front door. I knew this is mine. This is like exactly what I'm looking for, which is the building we're in now today.
Okay. Yeah.
And said, I'll sublease that thing. They'll get somebody else to lease it or whatever. Never could get anybody in that space. They never leased it. I paid for an empty lease space, $2,500 a month for 3
years. Yeah.
Move on.
Right.
So what? It's a cost. It costs you more than what you thought it would. So what? Don't let things that aren't working for you hold you back.
Right. It's the fallacy of sunk cost. You're like, I've got so much into it, I can't just stop. You're like, well, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can sell a car, you can give it away, you can move. Take
a loss. Cut your losses if you can. And so what if I had just said, oh man, I can't buy that building, have anybody lease my space, and the perfect building that has been awesome for us. You know how easy it is to make an extra $2,500 profit in your business? Okay, you wanted in your interview, one or two things that people could just add an extra 10,000. I'll give you one.
Yeah.
Upsell.
Yeah.
The upsell is the most profitable sale ever made. But I bet the people who are listening don't do a good job of upselling. You just leave money on the table. Another one is referral source marketing. You're pumping money. Talk about wasted money. You're putting money into direct advertising. You're just out there kind of casual networking or flyers or whatever. And all that's fine if it's getting you business. But you're forgetting to call on companies that are in a position to refer you, right?
Right.
So you probably are getting these referrals. So once you get a referral from a company, profile that. Okay, that's a property management company. Wonder how many property management companies there are in my area. Put them on a list. Go. Here it is. Help them get what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many ways to grow your business and do things like that, but so many times we just don't do it. But that's an excellent idea, and it's very simple to execute. A friend of mine at our last mastermind, he's shared one of his $10,000 ideas. He found all of their direct competitors, their window cleaning in California, every one of the direct competitors in the county, and he put them on a MailChimp automatic. He emails them once a quarter and asks for referrals from his direct competitors. And he said it made him $40,000.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just do that? And then, he helps them as well, because they specialize here, others specialize there. Let's swap customers because we can help each other.
Love it.
Easy stuff. So I always have 10 more questions, but I don't always have enough time for those questions. So I want to make sure and ask you, where can people find out more about you? Some of the things that you hit, we talked about the 5 pillars or the 5 main areas of business. You alluded to it. I know you wrote a book about that. I think you have a referral marketing program. Like all right, before I ask you, I was just going to ask, where can people find out more? Let's
Yeah.
answer that. And I have one
So
more real question.
go to howardpartridge.com, howardpartridge.com. You're going to get free email resources. You'll get at least one of my books for free, The 5 Secrets of a Phenomenal Business, which covers those 5 systems. There's tons of business strategies in there also. Then what you want to do is you want to go to what we call the Business Owner Boot Camp. We do a 1-day or 2-day business owner boot camp, and that's where we drill deeper into those systems, and we teach you about leadership, we teach you about marketing, we teach you about sales, we teach you about systems, we teach you about making more money. And then you join our what we call the Howard Partridge Inner Circle, where we can train you and your staff to the ultimate level of all those systems, all the documents that go with it. And then you not only get training, but you also get coaching. And so you learn the system. Our most successful students and members just do 2 things. They learn our system and they implement our systems.
Yeah.
That's it. So you got to train and you got to get coaching.
Very cool. So a question I was going to ask you earlier that, yeah, I'd just kind of like to hear the progression. At some point when you started to develop systems, like you had to learn about it and then you had to do it.
Yeah.
And then you took a step that most people will never, ever take. And that is you wrote it down. You wrote a book about it. You teach it. When did was there at what point did you find yourself going from like, I'm building this carpet cleaning business to I'm going to teach people how to have a phenomenal business?
Yeah.
Because that had to happen somewhere, or was that seed always there?
Well, I think it's always been in my nature to encourage people, to help people. And I just always have had in my DNA that situation could be a lot better. My youngest brother passed away last week, and Tuesday I was at the the funeral, and a childhood friend who none of us we're all,
big now.
Yeah. My brother was 57. I'm almost 61. And anyway, he was telling me how when we played football at this little, city park team, that he was quite overweight, and they had actually put him in a grade higher because of his weight, according to weight. And still he would tip the scales and not be able to play sometime. And so he was really discouraged. He'd get beat up, even though he was a big guy, he'd get beat up. And because he just wasn't aggressive. And he said, you were always encouraging me. Just don't be scared. Don't be, do this, do that. So apparently it's been in me for a long time. But what specifically happened was I was the president of this regional carpet cleaners association, which requires you to write articles. And I've discovered I love to write, and requires you to speak. So I started speaking. I started teaching my referral program, and people were like, whoa, hey, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
And there were other people in the industry that were, that had programs. And I thought, there needs to be a different flavor. Let's just put it that way. Okay. Yeah. A world of just chocolate or just vanilla, wouldn't be as good as a world with chocolate and vanilla and strawberry, so
yeah,
put my shingle out and just started doing what I do. And here we are today.
That's fantastic. Well,
yeah.
First of all, I'm really sorry to hear about your brother.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry. But
well,
I want to, this is very anecdotal, but the first time I met you, so you said you've always had in your nature to help people.
Yeah.
We first met at a convention about 5 or 6 years ago. And after you spoke and the people that were going to talk to you afterward, I just was able to step in and say hello and said, hey, would you like to, can I take you to lunch? And we went to lunch right across the street. Everybody eats. I figured, there's a pretty good chance that you eat too. And 2 things happened. One, I asked you if I could interview, and you had, like a little handheld recorder I put on the table. And the audio turned out pretty bad because you could hear the restaurant noise and not us very good. But there was a young lady that waited on us, and you right away, you just asked her how her day was going. She's like, "Oh, it's great." And you said, "How's your day really going? How are you doing?" And I don't know what it was in the way you asked. She just got really honest. And she's like, "You know what? I like working here, but I don't really like it. I mean, I think I'm cut out for something bigger." And I'm like, did you plant this lady ahead of time? Because it played right into the things that you were talking about on stage. But you were so gracious and so helpful to her and encouraged her to, like, you gave her 2 or 3 points to do. One of them had to do with education. I don't recall the others. Just a passing moment in time. And I was like, wow, this guy, I just encountered you on stage, and some people are polished and maybe it's just a show. And immediately I was like, this is just what Howard does.
Yeah.
This is really cool. So it was very impactful. So you've
Yep.
that encouraging thing is real. Yeah.
Well, my belief is that we're supposed to make this a better place, and I may or may not ever see that person again. It's just the right thing to do. And Zig did that. I mean, you could barely get through an airport, not because people were recognizing him, and that happens sometimes, but he didn't want to leave. We had conferences, and we'd have to be like, Mr. Ziegler, there's a line of 80 people here. We need to move it on, because he just wanted to know about you. And so I think those are spiritual seeds that will come back to you. In fact, I used to tease Zig when he was with us here on earth. I said, that quote that you can have everything in life you want, if you'll just help enough other people get what it is that they want. I said, I tell people you stole that from Jesus, because Jesus said, give, and it'll be given back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over.
Yeah.
May not come from the same person. It's just a natural spiritual law. If you plant good seed, I read the book of Proverbs almost every day.
Yeah.
And I've been through it a million times. And there's just so much about, doing the right thing, and how it gives you life, and how it makes you feel also. But the thing that the bonus is that should I walk in that restaurant tomorrow with an important client and that waitress is there, you think she's going to take great care of me?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So now what I do is I have the phenomenal talk with people. Now, I don't know if that's what I did that day or not, but I've already had the phenomenal talk with cashiers at Publix today already. And the phenomenal talk is, did you know that you're phenomenal? You got to answer.
Okay. Yeah. Well, wow. No one's ever asked me that before, right?
And then I ask you, do you know why you're phenomenal?
Oh, and I'm sure a few people I would go, well, yes, I do. And it's not because of me, but yeah, I'm phenomenal, but it's like what God thinks about me. It's not what I made up, but not everybody has an answer, right?
Yeah, that you get all kinds of answers. That's part of the fun of it, is that you get all kinds of answers, and you find people that are really bubbly and positive, and you find people that probably have some real problems that are just, down. And so that I say, do you know why you're phenomenal?
Uh-huh.
And they say, well, why is that? Or they might say, well, God made me that way, or whatever. So yeah, exactly. So God made you that way. Everything that God makes is phenomenal, but humans are special because he made you in his image.
Yeah.
Therefore, when I ask you how you're doing, the answer is
phenomenal.
Because we don't speak out of our condition, we speak out of our position. And when you speak out of your position rather than your condition, then everything changes. Like Zig Ziglar said, you can't do anything with a positive attitude, but you can do everything better with a positive attitude than you can with a negative one.
Yeah.
So if you ask somebody how you're doing, they're going to give you their condition, because they don't understand their
position. Yeah. Straight out of Ephesians chapter, I think it's 2. I'm trying to remember, but it says, it confused me for a long time. It says, for you are God's workmanship. And I didn't know what that word meant. And when I just looked up the Greek word translated, it was masterpiece. Like,
Yeah, Ephesians 2:10, I think it is.
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wow. Okay. There's a whole, that's chapter 2 for the next time we get together and have an interview.
Yeah, I got more content than than you could ever, I'm convinced that we get on here every day and talk and never run out of things to talk about.
I agree. Well, Howard, I appreciate seeing you, and I really appreciate you taking the time to join us for, just for a brief moment in time and help some other young men and women and business builders move forward on their path. Thank you very much.
Of course, it's totally my pleasure. Thank you for having me and helping me, get the word out.
You're very welcome. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording.